So in this lecture we're going to be looking at the actual dissection of an actual essay. So on the right side of my screen here I've got the essay structure, and on the left side of my screen here I've got an essay which we're going to analyze. Now what I'm going to do is match up this structure here and show you how it is being used in real life in an actual essay that I have written. So firstly we're going to look at the introduction. So the essay topic is language reflects and perpetuates the prejudices of our society. Discuss. This is a great topic that I feel you could write a lot on, in particular with sexism and racism as well as political correctness. So I highly urge you to do this essay yourself if you get the chance. So let's have a look at the essay structure introduction here on the right. So firstly, you've got to write a general sentence on the topic of the essay question. So not necessarily answering the essay question, you're just providing a statement on the topic of it. The next sentence within your introduction would be the topic sentence of the first body paragraph. The third sentence in the introduction would be the topic sentence of the second body paragraph. The fourth sentence in the introduction is the topic sentence of the third body paragraph. And the last sentence in your introduction is your contention. Do you agree with the essay or not? So let's have a look and let's actually kind of transpose it here and see if this actually fits. So number one is write a general sentence on the topic of the essay question. So let's have a look. Samuel Johnson, once a famous English author, once stated that language is a dress of thought. Our language choices and choice of phrasing can indicate our subconscious beliefs and prejudices in wider society. So that there is a general sentence or two general sentences on the topic of the essay question. So we're not necessarily answering it, but we're just providing a statement on the topic of it. Let's look at number two. Sexism and discriminative comments are reflected and perpetuated by language usage and choices in society. So that there is the topic sentence of my first body paragraph, which I'll be talking about down here. The third sentence in my introduction: certain language choices and phrasing can indicate certain prejudices against races, ethnicity, and nationality. So again, that is a topic sentence of my second body paragraph. The fourth sentence in my introduction is, as political correctness has taken hold on modern day Australia, so have some who argue that politically correct language reflects greater prejudices in our society. So again, that is a topic sentence of my third body paragraph. And the last sentence in the introduction is, in these ways as expressed above, language not only reflects prejudices and discrimination in our society, but also perpetuates them. So I have summed up my contention and whether or not I agree with the essay question. So we're now going to analyze a body paragraph. So for the purpose of this, we're going to go down to the last body paragraph here. So body paragraph 3. Now in this case, I'm using disagreement. So let's see if this actually corresponds. So body paragraph 3, first part of your body paragraph 3 is the topic sentence of the body paragraph. So what's the topic sentence? However, the rise of political correctness is trying to alleviate this prejudice by neutralizing and making language more inclusive to all members of society. So that's the topic sentence. And I have not copied the introduction topic sentence either. I highly urge you to kind of play around with language for a bit. Now, number 2 is an explanation of the point that you're illustrating. So, despite these efforts, however, some members of society argue that this type of language is in fact distances their personhood rather than decrease the distance in society. So, I've done an explanation of the point that I'm illustrating. Number 3 is back up my point with evidence and or examples. An example to illustrate this point is blind people being called visually impaired rather than blind. The National Federation of the Blind stated that we deplore such use, euphemistic terms, as they believed that it distances their personhood from society and makes them feel as though they require special treatment. They believe that they should be labelled for who they are as they accept their disability as part of themselves. So, I backed up my point here with evidence and or examples. Now let's move down to number 4. So now we're going to elaborate on that evidence and how it relates back to the topic of our body paragraph. So in turn, the fact that blind people, apologies, that's a mistake, the fact that blind people prefer to be called what other members of society would rather not call them indicates our social prejudices and in turn perpetuates them. These groups see that trying to separate the disability, either blind or autism, from their personhood to try and incorporate them into society could possibly indicate that much of society isn't comfortable with their disabilities, or that they'd rather disregard their disabilities and place it second in life. However, many of these disabled people believe otherwise, as it defines who they are. So there I've given a very detailed and elaborate explanation of the point and the example, and then linking it back to the topic of the body paragraph. Now the last sentence is tying back to the paragraph's point to the essay topic. So some groups in society argue that the use of politically correct terms is in fact discriminatory, and that these terms in fact reflect and perpetuate the prejudices of our society. Now we're going to move on to the conclusion. Now the conclusion, first part of the conclusion, is you repeat your contention that you mentioned in your introduction. After that, you then literally repeat the topic sentence for body paragraph 1, then for body paragraph 2, then for body paragraph 3, and that is it. So let's have a look here. We're now going to repeat the contention. Our use of language reflects and perpetuates the prejudices of our society. As long as we keep using these words and phrases deemed sexist, discriminative, prejudicial, and so forth, language will continue to perpetuate these beliefs in members of society until changes are made to minimize these thoughts and beliefs. There you go. That is the contention. Then we're going down to now talk about body paragraph 1. Sexist and discriminative comments made in society reflect certain societal beliefs that sexism and misogyny may still well exist, and even discrimination against sexual preference. Then body paragraph 2. Furthermore, terms used to describe people of certain races, ethnicities, and nationalities further indicate and reflect prejudice in society. And then, lastly, body paragraph 3. As society has become more egalitarian and inclusive, so has our language to try and alleviate this social exclusion. In doing so, some people believe that politically correct language does the opposite, and therefore could also illustrate our prejudices in society. So there you have it. That is the complete guide on how to structure your essay. I have attached both of these documents to the lecture, so one for this essay topic and then also the general essay structure. So whenever you are writing an essay, I have got some practice essay questions that you can use, but whenever you are writing it, I highly urge you to use this structure as a guide.